Today's Dungeon Brawlers podcast is sequels. Toot, 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 toot.
Boom, 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 boom,
Hey guys, welcome to the Dungeon Brawlers podcast. I am your host Frank. Alongside me, I have a great group of guys here. With me is Dan.
What up?
Tim.
Yep.
New guys, Patrick.
Nice to join you.
And Ian.
Ahoy, hoy.
This week, as you have already heard, we're doing
Sequels.
Toot, toot, toot.
Sequels.
game sequels. You know, that's basically where we're going. We're not doing movie sequels. That would be a whole nother argument right there.
Land Before Time.
Part 75.
Part 1000.
Rocky 5,000.
The Battle on Mars.
Don't give Sly
Earth
Stallone
2.
ideas, damn it.
But anyway, we were talking earlier, about our top 5 show that we do on our YouTube channel. So we came up with the idea and we were mulling over top 5 games that deserve sequels and then 5 games that don't deserve sequels.
It just snowballed from there.
And it just snowballed. So we were like, you know what? It's definitely a roundtable discussion. There's a lot of games we could go over. So what do you want to start with? You want to start with top 5 that we think deserve it, or top
we'll
5
go
that
deserve, and then we'll bash the game set.
I am going to be so unproductive.
What else is there?
Tim's always unproductive, as you guys already know.
Well, just to make sure we know the rules, like, we're going to start with a top 5, and it's just going to degenerate into talking about things, right?
Yeah,
Pretty much. That's how it usually works.
That's usually how it happens. We've had one where, what was it? It ended up being 3 episodes.
Oh, that was the great game debate.
Yeah, the great game debate.
great game
lasted
debate.
3 episodes. It took us hours to record.
The great game debate was taking your we could even do something like that. It was your favorite game from each console, and then picking one game as the king of the castle, the best game ever.
Oh, my.
We're gonna have to do that again.
Later.
Definitely.
I'm
Not
calling
now.
in sick that
Not.
day. I mean, those
Well, we already know
4
yours.
days.
Well, we can put you in the credits as
yours.
executive
Mine's
producer.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Yeah, yours is Banjo.
For every
Kazooie,
single
we already
system.
know that.
Every system.
Yep.
Banjo-Kazooie. Atari, Banjo-Kazooie.
So
PlayStation 1.
Okay.
Banjo-Kazooie.
now, I think we would all agree a game that definitely deserves a sequel and hasn't got one. It would be on, I think, everybody's top 5 list is Eternal Darkness for
Yeah,
the GameCube.
definitely.
I don't see how it didn't get a sequel. Is my whole thing.
Because it didn't involve Mario or Zelda or hell, even Kirby.
But it's such a cult. I mean, it's such a cult classic that you think it would have gotten a sequel based on, the reception it has now. It's one of the first games that people will talk about when you're talking about GameCube, and you're like, oh, what game should I get for GameCube? That's one of the first ones that comes up on anybody's list.
And it's completely unlike anything else that was on the GameCube.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but like you guys said, it's a cult classic. The nature of a cult classic is when it first comes out, no one plays it.
That's a good
And
point.
that also
And then it
typically
just builds over time.
kills
Oh yeah,
it entirely. Like, there are very few cult anything in media that lasts
Boondock
long
Saints
enough.
notwithstanding.
Yeah, like fandom.
You know what? I don't
yeah.
even count the sequel as, like, a viable sequel.
Something
The
that
sequel
exists.
was terrible.
Well, I mean, fandom and, like, the quality of the product, that's all great, but the greenback's got to be there. I mean, if
Yeah.
it didn't make money, then you're not going to see another one.
Yeah, that's
But
very
it
true.
looks like
was,
Eternal Darkness was actually made by Silicon Knights, and I'm looking now online, and it seems they went under in 2012 after some kind of lawsuit. So
That was the one against Epic Games.
Yes.
Too Human wound up
Oh,
killing
was that
them
it?
because
Yeah.
of the argument over the court case over the use of the Unreal Engine.
Well, according to what you have pulled up, didn't they change their name to Precursor Games?
yeah, they probably lost the
Yeah.
right to make their games or something though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I just remember the first time playing that game, going through that game, and I'm like, oh, the sanity meter, that's pretty cool, Going through the game, and I'm like, I want to test how this thing works. I just want to, get my sanity meter all the way up or all the way down and see what happens. And the first thing that happened was I got the blue screen. And I was like, are you fucking joking? did my GameCube just break? And then all of a sudden, it flashes a white screen and goes back to the game. I'm like, holy shit, this game is amazing. Just that one moment, just the amount of fear that game put in me, thinking that my system broke, changed the way I thought about that game immediately.
I think the thing that scared me the most about that game was one of the insanity effects was... It was while you're in the game's framework is the girl in present time, Alex, is reading about her ancestors,
yes,
and how they relate to the story, and as you're doing the story of I think I was in the colonial times at the time, and the insanity thing kicked in, where it suddenly flashed back to her, and her grandfather's ghost grabs her on the shoulder and just starts saying all this cryptic shit, and I'm like, oh my god, where is this from?
Yeah,
and then it brings up a screen like, thank you for playing Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. Look for Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Revenge, or something like that. Like,
just the
completely
way
out of nowhere.
it was so well put together. Like it
seems like a really novel idea. I don't think there's one game that kind of stumbled on an insanity meter, but didn't do anything like that. And we saw it up at PAX, but I can't remember what the name of it was, because you said it was cool and it reminded you a little of this game. Except that the insanity affected the game itself.
I remember. It was that indie game that was going through Kickstarter. I can't remember. It wasn't.
It obviously left a huge impact on you guys.
I can't. Well, I can't remember
we
the
haven't
name
thought
of it.
about it in 5 months.
Yeah, I haven't thought about it in like 5 or 6 months. But it wasn't that sanity. It wasn't in that type of thing. It was a dungeon crawler type game where you make a crew of guys and you go through these dungeons. But for example, like there will be prompts in the game where it's like, oh well, there's this hole, you can reach into it and grab items, and depending on what the people grab, it will like change their morale, and the way they act in the game will change based on the things that happen while they're inside the dungeon, which I thought was a super cool element to add into a game.
And this is a single player game where
it's a single player game,
like
yes.
That's kind of cool, where like you don't know if your characters are going to defect or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know how people are going to react, and you just like recruit guys from inside of a village. I'll have to remember the name. If I don't, I'll put it in the. I'll look it up and I'll put it in the comments down below on YouTube, so that people could see what the game was, and definitely if it's still on Kickstarter, back it.
Yeah, it looked like a really cool game.
Yeah.
I just wish I could remember what the name of it was.
Me too.
Well, you get on that, since you're not going to be any help in this conversation at all.
Hey, I just was help.
He did.
Thank you.
He just contributed that.
Yeah, dog, don't even trip.
Don't even trip, dog. Don't even trip.
I got you.
Okay, well... I know Ian and I were talking about this.
We're staring into each other's eyes.
Transitioning from a dungeon crawler with, squad mechanics, I think that this is probably a perfect segue. The game that me and Dan absolutely
adore.
High-fived on this.
Whoa, what about me, bro?
Don't even trip, dog.
Yeah, Patrick also really likes this game.
Was Freedom Fighters 2.
Freedom Fighters on the PS2.
Freedom Fighters.
Yeah, we wanted to see Freedom Fighters 2.
Yeah.
It was basically it's Red Dawn in New York.
You play a third-person shooter with kind of squad mechanics. Like the further you get in the game, the more
the more people you can recruit. Like I remember
around with you.
the last level, I think I wound up recruiting like 16 people.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Is there like a limit on how many people you can?
It depends on where you are in the game.
That's pretty cool.
I actually think it's kind of weird that it's a game where I think it was a plumber actually, and
fireman.
Was it?
No,
Because I thought he was a plumber,
plumbers.
And then he's trying to overthrow a tyrant ruler by going through the sewers. This is essentially Mario.
Okay.
If Mario
now
was
so there is a sequel.
But no, there actually is a sort of spiritual successor. I don't know if you guys remember Kane and Lynch. Kind of disappointing, but it was kind of.
It was IO Interactive. It was the exact same. Developer.
Actually, that kind of had it had the squad mechanics, I think,
to a certain extent.
They had kind of tying back into Eternal Darkness, like some insanity effects. One character had some kind of crazy brain problem, and he had to take his crazy pills to stop going crazy. But he, sure enough, went crazy all the time and shot people he shouldn't have or something. But I don't remember because the game kind of sucked.
Yeah, but the whole thing with Freedom Fighters is they kind of hinted, like, right at the end that they had big ideas for a sequel where basically in the first one it's just like a
Yeah, like
precursor.
you liberated New York.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
precursor invasion force, and that the main force was on the way, and you would have to lead this like ragtag band of American rebels to take back our country.
Yeah, a kind of we won the battle,
But not the
still
war.
have yet to win the war.
Yeah, it was a really cool concept, and I'm really disappointed that that game never got a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was kind of busy, making about 1,000 Hitman games, but
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I guess you can't blame them.
Kane and Lynch.
No, that game sounds really cool.
yeah, and I know
one-
you asked the question about how they determine how many people you get.
Right.
You build up your leadership abilities.
Yeah,
you get
it's-
points
through-
that way.
Like
through
each level
completing
you
tasks
get like
throughout
another
the game.
guy or there's like a meter, a level up meter or something.
Yeah.
that every time it fills
It's
up, you get
similar
another
in
guy.
style with the way you recruit people as Suikoden was. Because if you remember, you had to do different tasks, and as you went through the different tasks, that's how you gathered your rebel army in that. So
Now,
it's
would
kind
it
of
be
similar
like
style.
street credit? Like you got street credit for completing missions and stuff
Did you
like
just
that?
use street cred?
Yeah.
Except street credit. You
Which
did the white
has
boy way.
Street
I am
credit,
so
my
white.
dog. I am so not into that kind
But I
of
mean,
scene.
just one other thing on Freedom Fighters before we move on. The one aspect of the game that I absolutely loved was, in each section, you would have 3 main missions.
Yeah.
Yes.
You could attack it in any way you could.
Yeah, there was the freedom of choice and doing certain areas. Like I remember there was one where there was a gas station map, a post office map, and a firehouse map. And based on which order you did that in, you were given certain bonuses.
Yeah,
Yeah,
different
I
perks
remember
and
one
stuff
where
like that.
came online.
I do remember one where it was one area was defended by a helicopter and the other one was the helicopter base. So if you attack the base first, you would make the next section infinitely easier.
Yeah.
And I love that. It actually felt like the choices you made had actual consequences.
Yeah, it has a semblance of, on top of being a fighting type game, it has a semblance of strategy because you have to think about what your moves should be and the optimal way to do things. Going back to the game we were talking about before, though, it was called Darkest Dungeon. That's what it was called, Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, okay.
It kind of just popped in my head, so I was like, all right, know.
One more other thing I would like to say on Freedom Fighters, purely because of the fact that I think it's one of those games that absolutely nails it utterly perfectly, and I'm sure you guys will agree. I love a game where you start from the very bottom and there is a tangible sense of progress throughout the entire game. It's not one of those games where they give you everything right away, or there's some sort of
And it's also not one of those. It's also not one of those kind of games where you're progressing, but it just feels like you're progressing for the sake of progressing.
It's very natural.
It's everything. The level
go
design, the aesthetics, the scope of the story. You start off just doing simple things like take back an apartment building or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you can only bring one guy with you. And when you get to your sewer hideout, there's almost nobody there. But as you progress through the game, your character goes from plumber clothes to this cool Captain America thrift store outfit.
You go from
And you can get 16 guys with you, and you have all sorts of people camping out in your sewer, they've joined your cause, and it goes from that to taking back key facilities to eventually you have to take out the what was this Colonel Gagarin or something?
Yes.
Yeah, his
the
main stronghold
invader. So I
Definitely-
guess what I'm trying to say is I like it. So,
definitely. If it's a
Next
game
sequel.
you have not played, you have to play it. It's a game you should definitely take the time to play.
I still have it.
You still have it.
I still have
Nice.
it.
So,
Oh,
so
man,
go
let
to your
me borrow
eBays, your thrift stores, and
I'll hook you up, dog.
Yeah, let me
Just buy
borrow it. I still got the PS3 up there that can play it. Yeah.
Now you just made me sad.
Yeah, I know. That's
Because
why
my
I
60
did it.
gig decided to finally kick the bucket. With Skyrim still in it.
With Skyrim still in it. You can't even get the game out?
Nope.
Oh,
Man.
that's
Sad.
ridiculous.
we may have to perform surgery.
We will.
It's sad Panda Town.
We will.
Well, another PS2 era game that I would love to see a sequel to, that I actually only recently discovered as a digital download on the PSN, Psychonauts.
Psychonauts. It
It
was
was a great game.
Psychonauts, another I don't think it's sold poorly, but that's another big cult classic.
Yeah.
Everybody who played it raves about it.
I
You
mean,
probably
the thing
sold
I
already.
love Tim Schafer, and I love the stuff that he does in the games that he makes, but I feel like at this point, he just went through Kickstarter to back a game that he recently did. Why not go through, if you don't think that you're going to get the backing from like an actual company, why don't you go through Kickstarter? I can guarantee you that people would donate thousands upon thousands of dollars towards the second
Patreon.
Psychonauts.
He has my money right now.
That's what I'm saying.
I
would donate.
Neat, like, because you don't even need Kickstarter, the website anymore. The concept itself has taken hold. With like Tim Schafer did it, and now like Brian Fargo and the Wasteland guys did it. We've got some pretty big name games coming out that started there. So like fans who wanted these old series to come back that generally couldn't get like big corporate backing, they're getting what they want now. But there's horror stories too, like this Yogscast thing that just happened. I don't know if you heard about that. But
I didn't hear much on it.
They got a whole bunch of money, like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something like that, and then they just said that they're abandoning the game because it's too hard to make.
So did they do it through Kickstarter or did they?
It started through Kickstarter.
Okay,
yeah.
then at least the people will get their money back. I mean, Kickstarter's pretty good about that.
Yeah, Kickstarter's definitely started putting systems in place so that you can't simply run away with. Take money and run.
Well, I mean, what if you've already spent it? They can't get that money back.
I don't think personally. I don't think the Yogscast guys will do that. They're extremely cool guys. They're very nice guys. I don't think either of them.
They gave everybody who backed it a different game, so like they're trying to do right, and it's totally respectable, but you got to do your research when you're backing someone Kickstarter for sure.
It's definitely a landfill. It's definitely a
like the
landmine.
coolest.
What's that saying? Caveat emptor.
Like if you're
Nobody
gonna
knows what it
beware.
translates to.
if you're gonna donate, you got to donate to things that are gonna work out, like the coolest.
Oh yeah,
You guys have seen this thing, right?
A good
I'd
way
say
is to listen
coolest-
to us.
Have either of you seen the coolest?
No.
It's a new cooler. It's just a cooler, like for drinks. But it has a separator so that you can put ice in one side and keep like food in the other. It has a Bluetooth speaker in it. It's got a blender built into it. Like you can make it's the ultimate tailgating like experience in a cooler. I was like, dude, every concert I ever go to, I'll be ready.
Everything.
It had,
Wow.
dude, the fact that it has a blender. Do you know how much tailgating and Judas Priest with that thing? You know, how amazing-
Margaritas at Judas Priest.
Yeah,
We'll get Rob Halford out there.
that's what I'm saying.
Make sure to bring the plastic margarita glasses.
I have to say, I guarantee I'm like a parrot head, so I'm probably one of the only ones here, if not the only one. This is going to be huge
for Buffett.
for Buffett
Oh, God,
concerts.
Oh my god!
I guarantee that when this comes out, there's like 300,000 out in the park.
For any festival, it's going to be a huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
But going back into our topic, a game for me, I don't know if any of you guys have played it. A game for the Super Nintendo that I definitely think deserved a sequel was Illusion of Gaia. It was sort of the same play style as like Secret of Mana, but the whole thing was it was set in a fictional world, but it's interesting the way it went because there's real life elements in it, like you go to real world locations, but it's also set in this world that's like apart from it, and it's so hard to explain. It, like, honestly, the only thing I could say is to play the game to really get the full experience of the game, because it's made by the same company who made ActRaiser. Or Enix. Enix made ActRaiser, right?
Okay, was it Enix?
believe so.
I gotta look.
When you say it's like
let's fact check
like
this.
the real world, like you would go to like real like planet Earth locations, but it's like a fantastic sort of.
No,
video
he's
game.
talking about MTV's
Like you would go to like
Real World.
wonders of, you would go to like natural wonders of the world.
Ah, like those big triangles.
Yes, like the big triangles. Quintet and Enix, yeah.
Okay.
So that's who did it. They made their. I just would love to see a sequel to this game, because there's a lot of games like that, like Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana was a good game, but I wasn't a huge fan of the sequels of that. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
I'm not
That
gonna
we'll get to later.
I'm not gonna
We'll
go
do
too,
that in bad sequels.
Yeah, I'm not going to go too far into Illusion of Gaia being the only person who's played it, so I want to focus more on the things that we've all
But
kind
I
of
guess
agreed
if
on.
we're gonna go to like personal favorites, particularly on the Super Nintendo, like I guess anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Earthbound fan. It's like the definition of cult classic.
Didn't you get into Earthbound late too?
A little bit. Like I've been into it for a few plenty of years now, but I don't think I actually played it on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah,
most people who are into it, I don't think they did play it on the Super Nintendo. It's a very difficult game to get in the original format now.
Asking price alone on eBay is proof of that.
Like just the cart, like in poor condition, is like over $100
Yeah.
because there were so few copies made. The advertising campaign just wasn't like.
I was telling them
well
about
thought out.
NES 1990 NES Open Tournament. Have you heard about that game?
No.
That it's going for $100,000 because there's only 57 copies or 52 copies of it.
Is that like the Nintendo World Champion?
Or that's what it is.
Yeah,
Nintendo World
Nintendo
Champion.
World
What's it,
Champions.
The NES, Pat the NES Kid, is it? And the Angry Video
Yeah,
Game
Pat
Nerd.
the
They
NES
had
punk.
the whole bit about that. I love that.
Exactly. The one that appeared in The Wizard, right?
Yes.
I love
Yeah,
the Power Glove.
but no, Earthbound. It's a real charming game. There's some thoughts about how maybe they can't do that again because it like references a lot of like Americana, like pop culture things that would be copyrighted.
Yeah. My whole thing though is when you think about it, you know, because some people are like, oh well, the game didn't really get the sequels that it deserved because it wasn't popular enough, and my whole thing is when you have a character that is widely used in what is it, every Smash Brothers game?
Yeah, like
How can you say a
keep them
game's
in there.
not popular enough when people are asking for him to be in the Smash Brothers games? I think that says it all right there.
Yeah, but if you're real into it, fortunately there was a sequel made, not released in America, but a team of amateur translators did go and translate it. It's called Mother 3.
Yeah.
It's a Game Boy Advance game, so I guess you got to use an emulator to play it. And
Get that Virtual Boy. Get your Virtual Boy out.
or on your little tablets or whatever
However
your kids
you do
use
it.
these
Get
days.
iPhones. Get your phones.
Get your phones out, play some.
You download it on your toy box or whatever. I don't know, but
Can I play it on my flip phone?
real great game. It's not like a super direct sequel. It has a lot of the same feel, but it's original in its own right. So I would recommend that.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll see another entry in the series.
Probably
maybe
not.
we don't need one, but it is a little disappointing.
Okay, just sticking with that era of games. This one, near and dear to my heart. I remember playing this with my neighbors, my brothers.
I think I know exactly where you're going with this one.
Zombies ate my neighbors.
Definitely.
I love this game.
Yes.
See, my thing is, and the thing is, and it cracks me up, is that you didn't make a sequel to this game, and it's not like this is this super plot-heavy game.
There's a
It's
plot.
Arcade.
That's exactly my point.
That's like definitely couch co-op.
It's a
right there.
couch co-op. Just sit
I was
down,
gonna say, wait, there is a plot.
get a
to that
friend,
game?
and play
Well,
the
the
game.
plot is they're zombies and they ate
And
your
they ate
neighbors.
your-
Yeah,
neighbors
so
and
you gotta get them.
And you gotta
Very
save your
simple plot.
neighbors. That's it. Could you imagine having a game like that, even on, for example, say, you had it on Xbox Live Arcade or you had it on PSN, and you can have 4 players playing Zombies That Ate My Neighbors? Do you know how amazing that would be? I'd be throwing my money at them. Just throwing my money at them.
Yeah, if ever. I mean, it seems like now with this past E3, where the big AAA titles are really latching onto the 4-player co-op, now that Left 4 Dead set that precedent years ago.
Yeah.
But they finally figured out that people like that. So now's the time. We can play online. You can talk on the voice chat. It's just
but
grand.
with Zombies Ate My Neighbors, the one thing I loved about it was you just sit on your couch playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be said for the new generation of co-op games. I mean, obviously, you're more inclined probably to play with people that you personally know, to play with your friends, but there's something to be said about sitting in the same room on a big couch with a controller in your hand, just
trash
goofing
talking.
off, hanging out, trash talking.
See, that's something I personally miss. I miss that connection, and I think that's something that Nintendo tries not to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They try to keep you in the couch co-op so that you can have sort of a community. I was cracking up not too long ago. I forget where it was. It might have been in New York. Guy had a projector screen. He was in his driveway, had a projector screen with Mario Kart 8 on it, and people would just walk up and play. And they were just doing this right outside of their house, had a giant projector screen, and everybody was playing Mario. They actually
That
have
is awesome.
It is awesome, and they did the same thing in the Mall of America. They have a giant like Nintendo area with a giant big screen that people could just walk up and play Mario Kart. I love the couch co-op.
Yeah, I guess the only downside to like say couch co-op on one TV versus like playing online
Screen
is
looking.
Split
screen.
Yeah.
But like a game like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, you don't need that because
You're
you share
working
one
as a
screen.
team.
Like
Yeah.
you work around the same space. So
Yeah, you don't want to split up. You
You
don't.
know, it
I
kind of
also
feels like
never-
arcadey, like you know the old like Simpsons and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games where like you share one screen. Like those are beat 'em ups, but
But they were beautiful.
you know you don't have to like use a tiny little piece of real estate.
One thing I feel, if they were to create a new Zombies Ate My Neighbors, if they felt it necessary, they could also open it up to like Xbox Live.
Well, that's the thing.
PlayStation
It doesn't
Live.
have to be.
And people
would-
could play across the internet or
Yeah, it
just
doesn't
join
have-
into a room that you start.
In no way, shape, or form does it have to be a local co-op only. It could definitely
Right.
be online co-op. You wouldn't lose that ability. I'm just saying that I personally prefer the couch co-op.
The couch co-op.
Oh, definitely. But I feel like if they're going to release a new one, it's going to have that
Yeah.
Absolutely.
built
I mean,
in.
for me, there are some games like like I said, I love couch co-op, and I love playing games in that kind of format. But there were some games I just couldn't do that way. For example, me, Ian, and Pat play Payday 2, and I could not do that as a split screen.
All the things you got to see on the screen. Like,
Yeah,
they're-
it would
be
never
incredible.
work.
That'd be a nightmare.
Frantic. It would be impossible.
There's some games that work that way and some games that don't, and a game like that, a more arcade-ish style game, works with the couch co-op against something along the lines of like a Call of Duty or a Payday or something of that nature. It just works better.
Oh, yeah.
Really split screen. I guess that works well for like Mario Kart.
Yeah.
'Cause you're like you
Scooty
gotta
Squad.
see your whole thing, but like I don't know. It just works because Mario's great.
Yep. Scooty Squad, dude. Play a shy guy, riding Mr. Scooty, can't lose.
It's true.
You can't lose.
Okay, well, I just looking at my list, I realize 4 out of my 5 games are from the PS2.
Well, I've got another
That's
game
fine.
from that
PS2
same.
went on a good long time.
Oh, yeah.
I've got another game from that same era that I would love to see a sequel for, and that's Earthworm Jim.
Yeah, definitely.
How did that
Jim.
not get a sequel yet? Because I don't think there's ever been a time where Earthworm Jim wasn't popular.
Did
I
they
remember
just like
the
remaster that?
cartoon? That
The
stuff was great.
cartoon was absolutely
I
awesome.
know Ian was a
First-
big fan of that one.
First 2 games were absolutely great. Earthworm Jim 3D, not so much.
Yeah.
But they were some of the more creative games in terms of like art direction.
Oh, absolutely. The art
Yeah, I
direction
agree.
was phenomenal. I'm amazed actually with the revival of all of the sprite-based art, like trying to do those retro 8 and 16-bit games. I'm actually amazed that no one from that original camp has actually approached anyone with a project to reboot or revitalize Earthworm Jim.
Yeah.
Because that would be an absolutely incredible project. I'd pay.
So obviously,
I'd pay for
what
that.
this means is we have to learn how to make it.
We
Video
have
games.
to. We have
And
to
then
start.
somehow get the lawyers to acquire the rights to these.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's gonna
If
happen.
we do that, we need to make
Next time on Dungeon
Freakazoid
Brawlers.
the video game.
Definitely. Can we just get Freakazoid the show back?
I would. Yeah.
Please? Well,
Somebody get
I
Steven
guess we've
Spielberg
kind of
on the phone,
lost
please.
Ricardo Montalban, but
Oh,
I would love to see the show come back, but I think a video game would be awesome.
it would be the one video
I
game
don't
Tim
know.
will actually play.
I don't know. I don't know if
It'd be the
Freakazoid
one
would
video game
my
where
only
I'm
problem
maxing out,
is
like,
I feel like you would
256
lose a lot
hours
of
in a
what
day.
made Freakazoid great in a video game.
there would be a lot of space to add in a lot of internet humor because if you remember, Freakazoid was the result of Dexter Douglas downloading himself into the internet, and that was back in dial-up days when most people didn't know what an internet was.
Yeah.
28.8K baud modem.
Hell
Oh, God.
yeah. Good
Now
old-
he could be re-downloaded into the internet.
Could you
and have
imagine trying to
memes.
use something like YouTube?
No.
Oh God!
my God.
It would
No.
just be like, no.
Weeks.
No, but I can kind of see this now.
Weeks.
The Freakazoid game, like Freakazoid's come back after with the explosion of the internet. Like now, there's all sorts of internet creatures, and only he can stop them.
That's a good point. You do make a good
That'll
point.
be
I
the
think-
second game we develop.
I honestly think that would be a great video game that could be created, and then it could have a good sequel.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
I
Just
agree.
don't kill Cosgrove.
Launching into our
And-
next list,
and
sequels
remember-
to games that don't even exist yet.
And remember,
God damn,
There's
we're
one
becoming
thing
BuzzFeed.
you can never say. Don't ever say it.
But
Say it now.
No, don't
Say
say
it.
it. Don't
Say it.
say
Say
it.
it.
I won't say.
Don't
Peer pressure.
say
They're like the little
it.
angel and the devil.
Say it.
Don't say
But
it.
no, as I sang at the end of the last Freakazoid, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when.
Yep.
I'm
But-
not singing.
But yeah, going back, I mean,
Aww.
when we're talking about, the revival of like the pixel art 16-bit gaming, now's the time to do it. If there's any time to do it, now would be the time, especially with games like Shovel Knight just coming out. And this game is a huge hit. I mean, I love it, obviously.
I really
You
like
haven't
it.
It's a
stopped talking
beautiful
about it.
game.
Well, I guess there's a big comparison because they just had the new DuckTales game.
Yes,
And
the
I'm hearing
remaster.
people who like the old DuckTales game actually like Shovel Knight more than the new DuckTales game.
Shovel Knight, as you guys already know, I did the review of it and I gave it a straight 5 out of 5, and that's the first game I've given a 5 out of 5 for I think ever, and simply because everything about the game was perfect. The music was perfect, the art style was perfect, the controls were perfect. There wasn't a single thing that I can find as a flaw in that game, and I think that's why. But with the popularity of that game and the popularity of the style that it's in right now, I mean, all you got to do is look at the games that are getting sort of traction. You've got Mercenary Kings, you've got Shovel Knight. A couple years ago, you had Fez. There's so many different types of games with that sort of art style. Why hasn't it been done already? I mean, we brought back Mega Man and did Mega Man 9 and 10.
They did a really good job keeping the original Mega Man look too.
Yeah. So why not do another Earthworm Jim? I don't see...
Another Earthworm Jim. The other one that we were talking about earlier as well, going over to the PC platform, is Commander Keen.
Commander
Id's
Keen,
Id's old baby before they released Wolfenstein and Doom. We were talking about this. My fellow id lore master will be able to help me out here. Tom Hall
that
tried
would
to
be
get
Pat.
the rights to...
To make a new game, but it seems he just can't get them. I think he's been trying had been trying. I don't know if he stopped, but he was trying for a long time.
I think he might have given up the pursuit eventually. I honestly don't understand why, and that was before the entire revival.
I
that's
wonder if it tied
occurred.
into didn't they bring one of the Commander Keen games or make some kind of like fraudulent sequel on the Game Boy Advance?
Yeah, I
if there's
believe
kinda
there
like
was sort of
copyright
a
or
port
licensing
issue.
thing.
Yeah, there was a port
Yeah.
made, and I think it might have created some kind of it. They probably, honestly, dumped it out just to try to renew the copyright
Yeah.
or
But
try to
like
retain the
the
rights to
Spider-Man.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't know. I don't want to talk too bad about a comic book movie. I might upset some people.
You don't want to step on... We don't want to step on any toes here.
Yeah.
We don't want to step
I'm not
on
a
any
toe
toes.
stepper, except when I am.
Except when I feel like stepping on some toes.
Baby toes.
Any toes.
Baby toes, adult toes, senior citizen toes.
But
Especially senior citizens.
so, what else
Citizen
did you
Kane
have,
toes.
Dan? What other games did you have on your list?
Okay. Shadow of the Colossus and Time Splitters.
Shadow of the Colossus, I mean, they talk about The Last Guardian. It's not a soul success. It's not an actual successor to
It's
the game.
a spiritual
Spiritual.
It's a
successor.
spiritual success.
But I will
It's
believe
supposed
that
to be like
game's
a-
coming out when it's actually out.
Yeah,
Well,
that's kind of a development hell one.
It's
kinda-
definitely a
'cause
development
Shadow
hell.
Colossus is supposed to be like in kind of a loose series with Ico.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So it's
it's the same.
guess it's a
It's
shame
kind
they're
of the
not gonna
same
bring that.
principle. It's
Same
going
principle, like same art style.
Down, yeah,
and they're very very pretty games, and the gameplay feeds into the aesthetics of it. But
I
don't know,
I
it's
just
Shadow of
remember
the
every
Colossus
time-
kind of just like
every time people
improved-
bring out the video games or art thing, like those are the games that people get out first.
yeah, especially Shadow of the Colossus.
I
Just
just
the
re-
whole way that they approach boss battles, with you having to scale each of the colossi. Just beautiful, picture perfect, and they were each tough battles.
yeah. I just remember the day it came out. I wasn't going to go out and buy it because I didn't have the money at the time. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to rent it from Blockbuster. Yeah, that's a dated reference now.
Blockbuster.
But I went out to the Blockbuster. I rented it.
What about Hollywood Video?
And no, I didn't get it from Hollywood Video. But I went out, I rent it, I come back home, I non-stop played the game until it was done. Finished the game, brought it back. And I remember it was back when we were in high school, and I went into school the next day exhausted because I didn't sleep at all. I'm just like, but I felt so accomplished.
Those are the days.
Yeah, right? When you could just sit down, throw all your cares away, put it into a video game for an entire day. You gotta miss those days. But that's the kind of game that it was. It was the kind of game that could keep your attention for an entire
Hours
day.
on end.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something that's kind of lost nowadays, too, is games that can keep your attention for an extended period of time.
Yeah, I feel like most games have kind of even some of my favorites, Payday 2 in particular, hit max rank. It's still an exercise in Pavlovian conditioning, honestly. It's essentially a slightly more rewarding Call of Duty grind.
You ring the bell, Ian turns on Payday.
David Goldfarb rings the bell in Sweden. Ian plays Watch Dogs for the 50th time that day.
Well, David Goldfarb used to ring the bell.
Yeah, it's going to be Almir now.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, wherever he's going, Goldfarb's next project will be a big hit.
This is a game I wanted to bring up because I think, I mean, I really enjoyed the game. Dan just recently started playing it, but, you know, we all know the reason why there's not a sequel, but a sequel to Kingdoms of Amalur would have been awesome.
I love that game.
It was such a good game.
Now, I guess I can be the fish out of water here. Why won't there be a sequel? I actually don't know.
Ian?
I don't know either.
Because
so.
Kurt Schilling is a prick that bankrupted Rhode Island.
That would be why.
In a nutshell.
Pretty much.
Like baseball
So-
Kurt showing?
Yes, that Kurt
base-
Schilling.
Yes, baseball Kurt Schilling. Ian,
The
would you
Kurt
like to elaborate on why so that, you know,
This half of the table.
Yeah,
can
well-
understand.
mostly
Oh.
Tim.
Well, basically. Mostly Tim.
Pat
so he
didn't
gets- so he
know
hears the story.
either.
And feel free to fill in any of the blanks, guys, because
Gotcha.
that's I'm not 100% sure on all this. It was basically 38 studio. It's 38 studios.
Yes, 38.
Yeah.
That's what-
Kurt Schilling's studio got the advance. They were Kingdoms of Amalur was supposed to be an MMO at first. They took it and kind of created the title that was released.
Yeah,
Yeah.
third-person action RPG.
Yes.
With a strong single player component, but without all the MMO elements, as I guess kind of like a proof of concept. And in the attempt to develop that idea further, they received all of those advances from the state of Rhode Island, and completely defaulted on everything.
Yep.
That's about it. That pretty much sums it up right there. So
Got it right.
now
Kurt Schilling had a bad couple of years.
yeah,
Yeah, just a little bit. Didn't he get cancer after that?
Yeah.
yeah.
Serves him right.
Wow.
Wow. Jesus.
I'm
Ian's
tired and
spitting out-
cranky today.
He didn't have his daily dose of alcohol.
Ian didn't
And
have
Ian
his
made
nappy
big
today.
jump into the spotlight.
Ian didn't have his nappy today.
This is gonna explode. You are gonna get crucified, and you're gonna take over this show. It's gonna become Ian
The Ian Baxter Hour.
Ian Baxter's Dungeon Brawlers, starring Ian Baxter.
Who just says
Featuring
horrible
Ian
things.
Baxter.
No, honestly, that was a little bit harsh. I wish the
A
best.
little
I
bit.
wish
A little bit.
just a tad bit. I wish the best.
The
for
only
Kurt
thing,
Schilling.
the only thing I will say to
Pardon me.
the only thing I will say to Kurt Schilling is, from now on, please stick to baseball. Just stick to baseball. The game was great though. I thought the game was a ton of fun. It, you know,
I mean, it's a little repetitive.
yeah, but I mean, any game with MMO elements is going to be boring at some point. At some point, because you're just going through the grind.
At some point.
And that's what it is. I mean, every game. Unfortunately, you know, as people know of me, Castlevania is my favorite series, and I can blame my series for it because we were the first ones to do the grind. You play Castlevania 2, and it's like, oh, I need this many hearts to do this. Let me stand in one place for a half an hour and hit guys and collect hearts and then go back and buy stuff with them. It was ridiculously repetitive and annoying, and they're trying to give you some sense of accomplishment by doing this, but there is none. You
Like,
know
back in the
exactly what
day,
you're doing.
With like Castlevania, with NES games, like number one, they were more expensive then, especially when you adjust for inflation. Like
Yeah.
even if games were $60 then,
Well, they were about
that's
$50.
you know, like $1989 or whatever. Like $60 now isn't the same $60 then. But But back then they had to really give you your bang for your buck, especially because it was mostly sold as toys, especially when the Nintendo kind of brought back the gaming industry. So you really wanted the game that was going to last you a long time. And reviews, if they saw Simon's Quest, like, oh my god, there's like 50,000 hours. They don't tell you it's collecting hearts.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you that it was grinding through one thing over and over and over again until you got enough to get one thing and then do it all over again.
Yeah, but like back then, it's a little more understandable. They made games really challenging or really grindy to pad them out in time, and you still kind of get that now. But I think we have ways to give you a longer gameplay that don't do that.
DLC that you pay for.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Don't give me the full. Don't give me the full version of the game. Give me a part of the game, and then sell me a bunch of different parts for more money because that's fair. Or tell me a game's free, but then I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, this game's free, but you need to buy all these items if you want to win. That's the age that we live in now, and I feel like it's kind of cheapened the entire industry by doing it. Cause
I guess it's just economics. Like apparently game
trying
makers
to, like,
aren't getting the
maximize.
money they want, so they're doing other things like DLC and like these freemium games. Where you can play it, but you got to pay to really get ahead.
pay for items, pay for the weapons that's going to get you through the game or whatever it is.
I guess
I mean, to a point, I
saying,
understand.
but it is what it is.
Yeah, I to a point I understand it because it's like, okay, well, I don't necessarily need to buy any of this stuff. I can try to get through it on my own, but it just kind of like every 10 minutes you're getting a reminder, hey, you should buy this item.
Or you're completing a quest to get 5 coins, but for $1 you can get 100 coins.
Yeah, exactly.
Or for $10 you can get 1,000,000 coins.
That's exactly it, and that's what's killing. To me, that's part of what's killing gaming nowadays. But we're going to talk about what else is killing gaming by going into our another sequel list, which is games that shouldn't have gotten sequels.
Sequelitis.
Yeah.
I mean, we just live in a world where sequels are the rule, not the exception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're completely inevitable. It's going to be easier to cash in on an existing IP and try to just make a quick buck.
And
I like to call it the Activision business model.
Activision, EA, we can blame anybody.
Yeah, you can blame most of the AAA titles
on two
But
companies.
I'm gonna go right away with the first game that comes to my mind, and we were just talking about the company that made it, Call of Duty. There's too many of them. I mean, I understand it. Yeah, Call of Duty Black Ops 2 sold like $1 billion worth in like a week or whatever.
Something
it was.
My question is why though? Because you play
Because
it's just
MLG,
different.
motherfucker, what? Doritos and
it's
Mountain
because
Dew
they know what
all
they're
day
doing. They know what's going to appeal to the widest.
to their audience.
Yeah,
It's
they
the
know
same map with different textures.
They know.
They know. That's the
what
thing.
they want.
That's actually the genius thing about all of this.
Still called
Gamers know what they're going to get, but they still buy it anyway.
It's like on obvious levels, and even like kind of annoyingly, like not so obvious levels. Like there's one piece of a map in Call of Duty that keeps coming back. It's like this like beat up greenhouse with like dirt paths up to it, and
Yes.
you've seen it in like
Every
3 or
single
4
one.
maps now. Like they use different lighting situations or like weather to kind of hide it, but it's
But the
literally the same
assets
piece
are-
of map,
Exactly.
cut and paste.
Yeah.
Activision has the thing down to a science at this point. I'm amazed that they can manage to charge for the game, charge for the season pass. I mean, the one comparison that I think has been made by some in the Payday community is the fact that Payday 2 has a very similar. They try to treat it as a nickel and dime DLC model.
Yeah.
But and in some cases, yes, because you are paying a decent chunk of money if the game is not on sale. However, you're also getting fairly substantial to very substantial content in DLC packages along with free content that is being consistently released.
Yeah.
I'm amazed that you can basically spend $120 on Call of Duty every year and you end up with the same base game with map packs. They have it down to a science.
The other thing too, when it comes to Payday, is they have things like Big Bank and stuff like that have come out, and say, for example, and it's one of the things that I love about the way Payday did it, was if Pat owns Big Bank, we can play Big Bank without buying it.
Exactly. They don't compartmentalize the community, which is the other huge problem with the Call of Duty.
That's the big issue.
They
That's the
don't
big-
have
exactly.
map pack. You can't play together at all.
Because as far back as I remember, like I recall on Halo 2, they had map packs come out, and that really started dividing the community.
When that map pack still came on a disc.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Do you remember the sound check on that disc? The little grunt who would talk into each of the channels to
Yes,
see your
right.
7.1
Yeah.
system? That was pretty funny.
I like the fact that I was not carded for the map pack because the cashier at the GameStop specifically said, "Well, you own the M-rated game, and this is technically just maps for it, so I think you're gonna be."
It worked out. It
I
all
gotta say,
worked out.
but Halo always caught a lot of the same hate that Call of Duty gets now, but I thought it had a little bit more charm.
Yeah.
You know, they put a little more effort
into
into it. I like that they got some notable voice actors to do like small bits in it.
Well, it wasn't even that. I think, when you're talking about Halo 1 and you talk about Halo 2, people are it's always very favorable. It's once you start to get to 3, then the hate starts to come in, because it's like it didn't seem like they really tried to innovate at all.
Yeah,
And-
they're kind of selling you the same thing you already
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's the whole nature of sequels. Like Ian said, it's all about known commodities.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the big name developers don't take risks, because for them it's all about the bottom line.
Yeah.
It's all about what the stockholders want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do think it's very strange though that when Halo 4 came out, and I actually did play a little bit of Halo 4 online, I very much enjoyed it for
Yeah, it was pretty
for
good.
a while. I think it was funny that Halo 4 actually came under a lot of fire because it incorporated some Call of Duty elements into Halo's gameplay. Specifically, I remember sprinting,
Yeah.
which had never been in Halo before, was in there now. And what other was there anything else?
I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Yeah, I think it was mainly just sprinting, and I think that's strange that such a simple mechanic was caught so much flack.
I think if Halo wants to build up a better sequel to what they have out right now, crafting. I know it seems weird because everyone's thinking Minecraft.
Well, crafting
but I
would
mean
not-
like crafting a vehicle. You can get parts.
My
The
thing
only
on it-
issue is with an FPS game is that you would be affecting game balance. You can do it so that you can shift parameters and create like a custom game mode. Halo's actually one of the forerunners of that with Forge in Halo 3.
Yeah.
There was the opportunity to create maps and game modes, but at the same time too, those maps and game modes were held completely distinct from
Right.
the actual, because it like I said,
Yeah,
it affects game balance.
Like going off of what
At that
Tim's
point.
saying, doesn't Borderlands have like something similar to that, where you can like build like
Well, you
not
don't.
the guns, but like you can like build like new and better cars.
Oh, it's basically just customizing vehicles.
Yeah, you
like
can
you
customize
pick a
Halo,
chassis
I
and
can
a
see
weapon.
it, though.
Yeah.
And maybe not like things that actively affect gameplay, but maybe you could like get kind of like, I guess Payday kind of has a thing like this where you get like resources to
The
create
assets.
like the masks. You
Yeah.
could like create cosmetic things for yourself, like new armor, put like a new
Or
emblem on
like
your armor.
upgrade your ATV because that was a big thing for them.
Yeah,
for a while.
I mean, I think crafting, like you were talking about, would be a little bit too far, and I think people would say that it kind of kills. It kills
Or like a trendy
the
mismatch.
Well, yeah, it's a trendy
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, because I feel like people would say it kind of slows the pace of the game for one. It's going to create a lot of the balance is going to be disrupted. There's a lot of things that people I think would just complain about, even though it's a cool idea in all aspects. I don't think people would really go for it though.
right.
I think it's but like I said, I think it's a cool idea.
People fear change.
That's very much true.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we
I
have
don't like
200
change.
Call of Duties.
I
But I think a big frustration with like Call of Duty and Halo, they kind of share this in terms of sequels.
Call of Duty Ghost
is
Bears.
what people are going to
I would play that game.
Because generally when people buy, say, like an Xbox and Call of Duty, it's because they want to play that game with their friends.
Yeah.
You can throw Madden in this discussion too. I don't. do
Definitely.
people still like really go nuts for Madden?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, making
Year
sure.
after year.
Same
There's
with-
still
same with
tournaments
FIFA.
and everything.
Yeah, making sure. I wasn't sure if everybody just
Well, you can say
congealed
that
into
about
Call of
any
Duty.
of the major
Yeah,
sports
any of the
franchises.
major
Can you
sports
match
franchises
like
can
a
do it.
football game into Call of Duty just so everybody can buy one, maybe a $200 game
You
like
gotta
every
shoot
month?
shoot the football to the other team.
There it is. We got it. Call of Madden.
Brett Favre.
That will be the third game we develop.
But no, like when they release, Call of Duty 9 months later,
Call of
like
Duty Ghost
not
Bears.
even a year later,
already
everybody
told you
else
I would
moves
pay money
on.
for that game,
Where's
Frank.
that player base? You
Yeah.
want to play with your friends, but they got the new games, so you got to spend $60 in addition to your season pass and your Xbox Live membership or whatever you got, and the map packs just to keep playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a constant money sink.
Yeah.
The one very interesting thing that I've seen is I do like the fact that because one game that is definitely going to be getting a sequel, not a bad game from what I played in the vein of Call of Duty. Did you guys all enjoy Titanfall?
Titanfall,
Have you
I
played it
enjoyed.
I didn't
Still haven't
play
played
it.
it.
I enjoyed Titanfall.
Titanfall was interesting. The one thing that actually really amazes me though, with Advanced Warfare coming out, as in Call of Duty Kevin Spacey edition, was the fact that I remember seeing all the posts, all the hate from the Call of Duty fanboys when Titanfall came out, talking about how it was going to be terrible and everything. Now we see that Advanced Warfare is taking cues from Titanfall, and the Call of Duty players are acting like it's some sort of new revolution.
Well, that's the whole thing. I just remember, I crack up. There's that one meme online about EA, and they're talking about how people will tear apart EA, but then EA announces Battlefield, or they announce and then everybody's out the door buying the game. Even though they talk about how much they hate the company, they'll still go out and fork out $60 and buy that game, and then pay $50 for the season pass or whatever it is.
Yep, $20. I wait.
You wait.
I wait.
I don't get Battlefield. I don't like, but that's not my style of game. Titanfall I got because I thought to myself, this might be something different. It might be, something that I could really enjoy. And I did. I enjoyed it a lot, but
It takes the same formula and kind of freshens it up
Yeah,
with
it
like the
does.
Titans and all that. I guess it's kind of
So,
like Call
is
of
it-
Duty's kill streaks, but it's different. It changes the gameplay when you get it.
yeah, I mean the Titans definitely add a new aspect. I like the jetpacks, and they can
Yes.
add a lot of elements to the game.
Of course,
and
they
there's-
blatantly
My
stole
question-
that from Orion Dino Horde. That game nobody played.
My question is
That game is amazing.
It is amazing.
Titanfall basically Call of Duty and Armored Core having a bastard baby?
Sorta.
In a way. The quality of the product, though, is actually pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And the one thing that still astounds me, from my experience playing it, is the fact that they actually managed, you would think as soon as the Titans come into the equation, with dudes running around on foot and then the giant robots, you'd think the giant robots would completely and utterly overtake it. They actually built a lot of things into
Yeah,
this
they-
game
they-
designed to balance the two games.
They did a very good job of balancing the two
Modes.
together. I love the fact that you're not strictly set to even. And another thing that I love is that you don't have to. When you call in a Titan, you don't have to manually control the Titan. You can set it to do in guard mode, and it'll stay in one spot and just attack enemies as they come near it. It can also do an auto mode where it'll follow you and it will attack enemies as you're going. So you have a lot of different options with these things as well. So it gave you a lot of different mechanics and a lot of different strategies that you could use in the game.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
nice to have some to see some refreshing things in a AAA title. I
It's
complain
rare.
a lot about a lot of these games, but I don't want them to fail.
I think my favorite part about that game, though, is when you defeat the other team can escape. You have to jump in
the little game mode at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
and you can blow up their helicopter and win. You're like, yes. Not only did I beat you, but I beat you twice. I beat you twice in the same map. But if you want to see the game, I've got it on the Xbox One, so...
So come on over to Frank's house and
No,
try
no.
it out.
I don't want these people here. I'm talking about Dan. None of you come to my house.
Don't do
That's
it.
a first. He barely wants me here.
Yeah, I don't really want Dan here.
None
Hear
of
that,
us
guys?
are really.
It's a party at Frank's house, and everybody's invited.
Another
even your
game-
weird friends.
For me, that I think, should have
Aren't
ended a
we the
while
weird
ago, was Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that series has just gotten way too convoluted.
I got the
Just say
Why
impression
didn't they
that
just
they kind of
name-
gave up on a coherent series plot line.
Why didn't
But they
just-
still try.
couldn't they have just named the new one Pirates or something? I mean,
I really got the impression from them because they did the Black Flag. It was called Black Flag, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like the third one had that ship mechanic, and they decided people like that.
They took the only.
Let's just make a game of that.
Yeah.
That's
I
basically
guess
what
that's fine. In a
That's
series
exactly
where they've
what
decided they start out with a story that
who gives
seems to
a
have
shit?
a
That's
start
what
and an
their
end.
attitude is. Who gives a
And
shit?
they've gone from that to we want to keep making games. So why not just go with the mechanic people like, I guess.
I played Black Flag, and all I did was,
Kill whales.
Kill whales. That's it. I went out and killed whales. I forget the game. I went out,
He
attacked other boats,
assassinated
and
whales.
killed whales.
I gotta confess, in terms of Assassin's Creed,
Assassin's
I
Creed
made it
whales.
through the first game and most of the second one. So I'm really keeping current here.
Of course, he made it through the first one. He stole it from me. He stole it from me.
Did Frank? Did you name your assassin Ishmael? In
Yes.
Black Flag.
I did.
Okay.
Fishmail?
Fishman. But yeah, that's another series that I feel like,
Well,
and
it
even
really just went off the rails when they started doing all the side sequels with the second one.
yeah,
That's right.
Brotherhood and
Revelations.
Revelation.
Yeah, I
Revelation
just wanted
Space
Assassin's
and-
Creed 3
Yeah.
because I didn't make. Honestly, I never made it past Assassin's Creed 2.
Well, my whole thing was this, and I feel this way about any series. I've always loved the Resident Evil games, with the exception of 5 and 6. 5 and 6, not so much.
5, I
But-
didn't mind too much as just a straight up action romp. I was okay, I can kind of live with this. I saw the thumbs up bit of Resident Evil 6 between Leon and somebody else when Conan was playing it on the
Yeah.
segment, and I was like, this is complete.
My whole
bullshit.
thing when it comes to any series of games, I don't care what it is. I mean, one of the things that I like about Castlevania is they try to change it each time. It continues that name, but for example, Lords of Shadow gives you a different view of what Castlevania was from the original series. And that's something that I feel like none of the, for example, Resident Evil. Resident Evil to me has taken its course, and unless you're going to do something different and take it in a different direction or look at it from a different angle, I don't really feel like it should continue.
Frankly, maybe it deserves a reboot more than a sequel.
Yeah.
Go back to if you really have
That's
to
such a
keep the
dirty
franchise
word, though.
going. I don't love that everything has to be a reboot or a remake or a prequel or a sequel. But in this case, maybe a reboot is better than another straight sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try to undo some of the convoluted nature of the game.
Because you
Yeah,
can't keep
simplify
adding
it a
on
little
to
bit
a
again.
universe after
Well-
it eventually falls apart or feels flimsy or.
That's for me a perfect example for me was Gears of War. I felt Gears of War was just long enough. They didn't overextend the story and just because the game was popular keep throwing out games and go,
They
what?
tried to do that.
Well, they made 3.
No, then they had the fourth one.
Yeah. What was the fourth? What was the fourth?
What? I don't
I
remember.
don't remember what it was called.
I
I don't think they called it
I don't
Gears
know
of War
either.
4.
I
did they?
remember-
it wasn't a direct
It
sequel
was
to
like
4.
an Assassin's Creed Brotherhood sort of thing?
No,
or-
it was more a prequel.
Oh, wasn't it the one about the other two guys or something?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what
That's
it's called.
what it was.
Coltrane.
Was it
But-
called the Gear Wars?
Gear Wars.
Have
How much do you know about the Gear Wars?
Boy,
Well,
I envy you.
that
It's
was
the Cog Wars
that was my
that end up into the Gear Wars.
that was my whole thing. Was I enjoyed for all 3 games? I enjoyed the story. The gameplay mechanics actually somehow got worse as the game went on, but the story itself was actually pretty good throughout the 3 games. And
Coherent and competent.
yes,
That's rare.
and
Incredibly.
I felt like 3 was just enough. You could stop right there and it would work.
See, I had the first 2,
Yes.
and
Tim has video games?
I did. Yeah, I actually, when I got the second one, I got the special edition where I got the Xbox.
Yeah. He got the Xbox because I got the Xbox and I convinced him to get one.
He was
too.
like, "Dude, this will have more memory than your current
It has
Xbox,
a bigger hard drive.
and it looks
It's
badass."
slim. It
Doesn't
was
matter.
right when the
Your-
Slim came out.
My mind just
Yeah.
exploded.
So I traded in my Xbox like
You got that.
4
then-
days before.
And then
As a
it red
payment.
ringed on him within a day.
It was amazing when I got it. But
I would.
I liked the first two. I was like, all right, well, I'm basically done with these because I don't need to really progress with the story anymore. I felt it concluded, and then they released the third. I'm like, the fuck are they putting on to this thing?
Everything.
What else happens?
Where are we going with this? But no, that. I feel like trying to beat a dead horse just for the money out of it is what makes people hate these games. It's not even so much that the games are necessarily bad. It's
They're
just
good at what they do.
yeah.
I can say that about Call of Duty.
Yeah,
They're
so
great
can
at what
I,
they
too.
do.
So can
It's
I.
just the
I
same
mean, I can
game.
say the same thing
Yeah.
about Assassin's Creed, but it's the same thing, and that's the whole problem. It's just that you're beating a dead horse, and for people, I mean, you got to look at it from the era that we came from with Nintendo and Super Nintendo. You didn't have 28 sequels. You would buy one
Unless
game.
it was Mario.
Well,
Yeah.
You
Well,
would
the other thing too that you can say in defense of Mario throughout those generations is that there was still a definite and very, very, very heavy technical leap forward.
yes.
Every
Each
few
time,
years,
yeah.
which actually managed to make the fact that they were doing a sequel and using all this new technology, it made it more credible.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've hit photorealism, we've hit Uncanny Valley. It's like, how many times do we have to put Kevin Spacey in a video game before
All the
it
times.
gets old?
Every time.
I want to use
And
Usual
also-
Suspects
It's going to
game
get
now,
old.
actually.
And also remember, Dan, that Mario 2 was not a Mario game.
Yeah. Well, even
It was
think about on
Doki
each
Doki
console
Panic.
how many games were released within the series. Like they always have side things like Dr. Mario or Yoshi's Cookie or like Yoshi's Safari.
I think Mario on the Nintendo was the most because you had Mario. If you count the lost levels, which was technically supposed to be 2 instead of Doki Doki Panic, don't count that. And then you had Mario 3.
So that's like 4 games there. And then on the Super Nintendo,
You had Super Mario,
you had
then you had
Super
Super
Mario
Mario
World.
2, which was the Yoshi Island.
Yoshi's
one.
Island, and I guess you can count Super Mario All Stars since they released it, even if it was just the
was just a-
NES games
yeah.
they released.
Yeah.
So that's still only 3. So it's sequels happened, but
I would
they
say-
kept it fairly limited.
I mean, you think about it now. Now it's gotten a little bit more
Ridiculous.
For example, with the Wii, you had both Super Mario Galaxies. You had you had Mario Brothers Wii. I think there was like 3 or 4 games for.
I was about to
Wii
say,
as
you
well.
could probably get a list of the top, 10 grossing Wii games, and about,
Mario's most of them.
I was going to say about 2/3.
well, here's a good comparison. You generally have 3, maybe 4 Marios per console.
Yeah.
All the Call of Duty games, I believe, are on the Xbox 360. Every single title in the series.
That's the thing. But
And that's not a series lacking in titles.
No,
there's the
not at all.
with the Wii U, you've already got what is it? You've got new Super Mario Brothers U. You've got Super Mario 3D World already, so you've already got 2 on the new console. I'm relatively sure we're going to probably see a Super Mario Galaxy 3, which is another game that I would put in my games that need a sequel.
Yeah,
is
you can
Super
bet your
Mario
bottom
Galaxy.
buck you'll see that.
Yeah, Super
Unless
Mario-
they go with they went from whatever was before that to Galaxy. Maybe they'll do another Super Mario whatever.
And we're
as
not
the
even
next
counting
one.
games like Mario Kart. I
No.
mean, if you count Mario Kart,
I would call that a whole separate. Think of
yeah,
it as a
that's
separate series.
it's a racing game, so it's not in the same vein, but they're
It's in the
super
same
fun.
universe, just
Yeah,
different.
same universe of characters, different style of game.
And even
we got-
Mario
have
Kart,
we
I think
got,
there's only one per console.
Yeah,
No, I mean, they're up to 8
typically.
now.
Well, we
yeah.
are up
Well,
to 8.
you've got Mario Kart 8 for the Wii U. You had 7 for the DS. You had Double Dash you had 6 for Wii. You had Double Dash for the GameCube. Which one was for Game Boy Advance?
I forget the Game Boy
Yeah,
Advance.
I
It
would.
was just
Game Boy Advance is kind
'Cause
of
you
like a
had
dark
Super
spot for
Mario
me. I didn't
Advance.
play too much on
Well, you
that.
had Super Mario Kart and you had Mario Kart 64. So there's 2 there. There was 2 in between, or 4 in between that. Jesus God, there were a
Yeah.
lot.
Well, there was also Mario Kart on the Super Nintendo, which would be 1.
Well,
Yeah.
that was Super Mario Kart.
Right.
Mario,
Maybe I missed it. You said
Mario
that.
Kart wasn't for the Nintendo. The first one was for Super
Right.
Nintendo.
That's what I mean. So like
Yeah.
Mario Kart 64 was the second one.
Yes.
So
It's whatever's in between that. If
maybe
you guys
it's like
know,
a Final
let us know.
Fantasy thing where they skipped a number.
The Japanese only releases.
Yeah. Okay. There it is. There's my. You know what? That's a series that needs to stop. I'm sorry.
You just hate everything lightning.
No, it's not that I hate everything Lightning. I hate everything that they've done from 10 forward. 10 was an okay game, but
yeah,
it was
they had
in
some
the decline.
traditional like Final Fantasy writing in there. There was like a religion story going
Yes.
on.
Yeah.
I didn't like the voice acting.
The voice acting was not very good. The only good part was the fact that you had
Yeah, Bender is Waka.
you had Bender as Waka. But
I know I like Waka.
Waka Waka.
my thing is, for
Waka
one,
Waka Flame?
you didn't have a true overworld map, which I hated.
Yeah, I think that one started the trend of walking through a hallway.
Linear gaming. It's
Like,
very
even
linear.
when you got the airship at the end of the game, and like Final Fantasy kind of teased you throughout the series with the airship. It was something you always wanted, but you got maybe like halfway through the game. In this one, you get it like I would say 90% of the way through the game, and it's not even an airship, and there's not even a world map. It's just like
Nope.
pick a. It's essentially
pick this
a
area.
warp menu.
Yeah, it's a warp menu. It's a teleport menu. It's a
So
fast
that was
travel. That's it.
disappointing. Like the big thing in Final Fantasy, I think, was it always had like a linear story, but there was this sense of like exploration.
Yes, you had the option to explore. You could go out and go on the map and spend, for example, in Final Fantasy VII, you could spend 3 hours in Gold Saucer doing nothing.
Yep.
Doing absolutely
Playing a
nothing.
snowboarding game.
You could do the snowboarding game. You could do the boxing game. The basketball game.
The motorcycle.
The motorcycle game. The
What was
motorcycle
it? 10
game.
had a Blitzball, right?
10 had Blitzball.
Blitzball, the
8 had-
menu-based sports game.
Yeah.
that
8
nobody
had,
wanted to play.
8 had the card game.
And then 9 had another card.
And then 9 had another card,
A card game nobody understood.
Yeah, because it didn't make any sense.
But
I mean,
then
it was kinda
you've
fun,
also
but
got
8
the
was definitely
brilliance
better.
of the
Yeah.
sphere grid, which was a brilliant idea.
Good idea, but it was
Horrible practice.
horrible execution. I remember the main character apparently had like a really good path. Everybody had a path they were supposed to take on it.
Yeah.
And I went the wrong way the first time I played. So I took the main character into, I think, Waka's path. So he was just like horribly mismatched between
Pat.
like the powers he had and like his stats.
In that game, every way was the wrong
How could every way be the wrong way?
It was the
it was a
wrong way.
hallway.
There was no right way.
There's only one way, forward.
There's no way it was.
That was the wrong way.
And then
You go
now-
backwards.
now
That was
you-
the problem.
If you want my reasoning, now you brought up Lightning. The reason I hate Final Fantasy 13 so much, and almost anybody who's played Final Fantasy games agrees, is that it came to run down a hallway, have a cutscene, fight a boss battle, hit the A button as much as humanly possible, win battle, repeat. That was it. There was no challenge to this game at all.
It kind of seems like the design was more of a checklist of like gotta have that in there.
Yeah.
Which you see that a lot in sequels and movies and games, but
For me
when you're designing
personally,
it with that list of like you
I know
gotta
they
have
tried-
that in there, it tends to feel kind of uninspired.
I mean, I know with the 2 sequels, they tried to fix that. and
Yeah, they
get,
tried
get
to
away
fix-
from, like, the linear bit.
Maybe they should have just made a new Final Fantasy.
well, that's what 15 is supposed to be, but 15 is also 13 verses or whatever, because they had like 12 different versions of 13 apparently, or whatever it was. But
They were trying.
for me, the way I look at it is, if you wanted a good game in the next gen that was a Squaresoft-esque game, was you either played Blue Dragon or you played Lost Odyssey, both games by Mistwalker, because you had Sakaguchi on it, and he just makes good games, period.
The
He
guy who was
makes-
still inspired by what he was doing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, at least the newer Final Fantasy games have the Dan Matthews seal of approval. They tried. That's a hell of a gold star.
Now, what I will say is, I feel like it was a
Gold
step.
plated.
I will say it was a step in the right direction. Was Bravely Default for the 3DS. That game literally went back to the original Final Fantasy games. You had an overworld map that you could go and explore. The one downside of the overworld map in that game was the fact that when you went in the overworld map, if you wanted to go into a cave, you'd walk in the cave and they're like, oh, you're not high enough level for this, and you had to walk back out. I'm like, well, why don't you let me learn that I'm not good enough? I'll go in and die. And then I'll be like, oh shit, I shouldn't be here because I just died. Or I'll run away because guys are kicking my ass or whatever it is. But you did have an open world map and you could explore the different towns and check stuff out. It had classes again, so you could switch classes and jobs, and all of that made the game feel like an RPG of that style should feel, in my opinion. And hopefully we'll see a console version of that game at some point or another.
Yeah, I would absolutely, just based on what I've heard from a few people, I would love to play it.
Well, fortunately, I have a 3DS, so I would like to try this soon.
You have to. You have to. If you're an RPG fan, you have to.
I suppose I would qualify.
I suppose I qualify.
You meet the necessary qualifications.
Excellent.
Show me your card.
I don't, so I can't play.
Tim loves Banjo-Kazooie
And Banjo-Kazooie 2.
and Banjo-Kazooie 2, but
And Barney.
and Barney's hide and seek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we transitioning into our beating a dead horse to exhuming the graves of long dead franchises that shouldn't have been?
Well, a game that Pat brought to my attention that I never understood how a second game was not made was Okame.
Yeah, we got that one via the Twitter. I believe you guys have heard of this Twitter.
Yeah.
Is that the thing with the bird that tweets? What
and
you're
people say
thinking?
things.
Yeah,
I hope that
Yeah.
gets a sequel.
Yeah, that's already the sequel to.
I heard it's called
expansion.
I heard the
Facebook.
sequel was
No.
called Instagram.
MySpace.
No,
Instagram?
the expansion or the sequel to Facebook is the sequel to MySpace.
Right, and Twitter's the sequel to Facebook.
Or is it like a spin-off?
I think it's a spin-off.
I was gonna say Instagram
because it takes
is
some
a spin-off
because it takes
of
some
Twitter.
of the elements of Facebook,
Facebook Black
but
Flag.
not the whole thing. Facebook 4 Black Flag.
And MySpace, really just a rip off of Zanga and LiveJournal, which apparently is still going around.
And it all eventually leads back to GeoCities.
Alright, who here did not have a GeoCities website?
Okay, hold on. If we're
I'm pretty
No
sure it was
one.
required.
if you didn't have a GeoCities account, or a GeoCities website, you at least had a tripod website.
Oh yeah.
Or
I had
Angel Fire.
both.
You had one or the other.
I'm actually 90%
I also
sure
had
there was a
one on
class in high school that
Homestead.com.
required that we make a GeoCities website.
But God forbid you had to like register Angel Fire and actually learn HTML
God,
because learning is forbidden.
Yes.
I had one on Homestead.com until they started charging money.
Homestead was like
Yeah.
GeoCities before.
Before
GeoCities.
Yeah.
was the thing.
GeoCities.
Yeah.
And then after Homestead was like, you know what, we're gonna be dicks and start charging $69.95 for a 3-page website. I was like, no,
Not doing
my website is 16 pages
But-
long. I don't have that money.
I don't know which was first, but either GeoCities or Homestead, or I guess both, really kicked off that whole WYSIWYG style of design. The what you see is
Yeah.
what you get.
But going back to what we were talking about,
Also had Angel Fire.
we got it from the Twitter. Who was the person who sent it? Who got us Okami on Twitter?
Her name is Kim.
Yeah,
Kim.
just Kim.
Just Kim. That's fine.
Hi, Kim.
No last
Hi,
name.
Kim.
She's
Thank you,
like
Kim.
Seal.
So
Thank you, username Kim.
username Kim said
that's not
Okami is a game that, and I agree 100% that the game definitely deserves a sequel. Whether you get it on PlayStation 2 or you get it on the Wii, it's definitely a game that you should check out. There's so many. One of the things I love about that game, first off, I love the music. Now, I'm kind of a, Japanese
Music's
culture freak, and I love the stuff that they have. And this game just has so much involved in different, like, folklore and stuff like that from Japanese culture that it's beautiful. It's a game that, it might not be the most, exciting game to play, but if you enjoy a game with a very gripping story, Okame is definitely one that you should check out. I know games with storyline aren't everybody's
And
favorite type of
it's
game.
kind of heavy on mythology, right?
Yeah, on the folklore of of Japanese.
So, like, if Hayao Miyazaki made a game,
Yes.
See, this game
Yes.
sounds like it would highly interest me,
You-
just
you-
because it's mythology.
You would
stuff like
you
that.
would like it. I know you would. But games that should have been dead and buried, never to return again.
we'll
is that-
start with nuts and bolts. Banjo Kazooie.
Yeah, I love. It was the minute Rare went out of business.
Yep.
And were
was
bought by what,
basically just
Microsoft?
a shell of Microsoft,
Yeah.
and was developing,
And that was it.
for the Xbox.
It was dead on. It was dead in the water at that point. I mean, you had so many good games from that company, and then all of a sudden, there it is,
Speaking
the
of,
dagger.
I didn't even make this connection. Did anybody else play Perfect Dark Zero?
Yes.
No.
Nope.
What a pile of crap.
Yes.
That was highly anticipated.
Yeah,
It was.
it was actually receiving fantastic reviews.
I don't know
on,
why.
on initial release. I think it's probably just
People
because
really
the,
like Perfect Dark, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just because 360 basically didn't have another shooter to play. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, how the
bare-bones.
future. How the future changed that.
Oh my
Hashtag
God! There's
next
bump
gen.
mapping on this brick wall.
Okay, for me, I'm gonna say every Twist Metal game after 2.
Okay.
Fair.
For me, the game that it shouldn't be dead and buried. It should be living on forever. Is Genji. I need to fight more giant enemy crabs
Attack its weak spot for massive
Massive
damage.
because
Based on Japanese history.
it is based on Japanese history.
Real
I can see it.
battles.
Real battles from Japanese history
With giant mutant crabs.
with
Yeah.
giant enemy crabs.
Revolutionary features such as real-time weapons change. Has there ever been a feature in video games or otherwise that had the word real-time on the front that wasn't totally bullshit?
my favorite
Like imagine
part.
a computer that said like with real-time time updates. That's just a clock.
My favorite part about it is he's like, it has real-time weapon change, and you immediately see the weapon just turn into another weapon. I'm like, this is not real-time at all.
That's not even a proper.
Like I guess it's
explanation of what
real-time
it is.
in that you
It's
pushed a
magic.
button and it changed.
Yeah. Instant changing of weapons would have been more suitable.
But I really think real-time is a huge bullshit marketing term.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Real-time strategy?
No, it's
Nah.
a completely trash genre.
Yeah.
I think a game that should have never been made. NCIS. I like this show. The video game, complete bullshit. I bought this thing for $35.
I was
Why?
No, hold on. Hold on.
That should come from
Hold
a
on.
bargain bin at Walmart.
Hold on. I was there.
Yeah, Frank was
I
there.
was there, and I said
wanna
to
hear
him,
this.
"Don't buy this game."
You should have watched
It's
them.
shit.
Best thing was I went home, played it that night, called Frank and was like, "You were right." Went up to this. I was gonna say this unknown game supplier,
No, it was GameStop.
GameStop. They wouldn't take it back.
Oh
my God.
It's
They were like, "No, we don't
buy
want
it
it."
back?
I was like, "What? It's within my like 90 days."
Well, it's 7 days.
unsealed. The
Yeah.
other thing too is
It
was it PC or was it
It was Xbox.
it was Xbox.
Oh, well, okay. I was gonna say because I know they made Law and Order and NCIS games, CSI games for PC, and that's
Yeah.
that's the policy with PC software. You can't.
I
And-
kept saying it to him too. The whole time we're there, I'm like, dude, don't buy it. Just don't buy it. And he's like, well, you know, we really like the show, and I think we would enjoy the game. It's something me and her can play together. And I'm like, don't
No,
buy
buy it.
the game.
Well, Tim, if you really like video game adaptations and you have another $35, I think I can track down a copy of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
I think I could do that.
I have it upstairs. We'll just pop it in. You can play it. We'll have a good time.
We'll get the double action going of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh God.
Did they make like a dual? Did they make like a dual cassette like they did with Mario
A
and Duck Hunt?
double-sided cartridge.
Oh no!
No, it has to be like Mario Duck Hunt. It
Shit
just
comes
has-
out of both ends.
Oh, it has like the split screen
Yeah.
label.
Yeah. Dude, that was awesome.
Duck Hunt deserves a sequel.
Duck
Duck
Hunt.
Hunt definitely deserves a sequel.
There
it
is one. It's
deserves
called
to be
Call
re-
of Duty.
Oh, speaking of sequels,
It deserves to be reboot.
speaking of hunting and sequels, did you see the people making Deer Hunter are making a dinosaur hunting video game?
Oh,
this is
awesome.
a real thing.
okay. This is something I would want to buy.
I really
I
hope
wanna
they
buy it right
re-release the Super Scope for this.
Cabela's
Dino
Dino
Hunter?
Hunter.
Yes.
Yoshi Safari 2.
See, that- oh man.
Oh man.
You said they need to make Duck Hunt sequel. Haven't you played the Duck Dynasty game? It's the same thing.
I
I highly doubt that.
They made a
You
Duck
shoot-
Dynasty game.
Yeah, and you shoot ducks. It's all you do.
But they make duck calls. They don't shoot ducks. They
Hold
make duck
A
calls.
to grow your beard.
I would play that game.
Hold B for homophobic rant.
Hold X to eat
tap
over
A.
50 donuts.
Tap
it's
A
very
rapidly
easy,
to
donuts.
avoid lawsuits.
1, 2, 4, draw.
That would be the fourth game we make.
What other games deserve to be dead and buried?
Oh, there's so
That
many.
are dead and buried. Well, Dr. Jekyll.
Well, maybe we shouldn't name any in case like somebody gets an idea and starts exhuming some of these.
Well, I want
California
people to
games.
California Games was a disaster.
But it looks so much like California.
Yo, all you gotta do is play some footbag,
It felt like I was really there.
and you can look at all the nice landmarks when you're playing footbag, the Golden Gate Bridge, and Alcatraz.
Oh no, I got one that should probably say dead and buried.
Wow.
Tony Hawk games after
Oh,
like the
God,
numbered
yes.
ones.
When they went on to Tony Hawk Underground. I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
How
Anything
many of
after.
those were made?
I know there were 2 underground games.
You know, it's
and then
bad
they did
when you, like
Tony Hawk
add
Ride.
another part onto your title name just so you don't keep putting sequel numbers on it.
See, for me, right around the time that Tony Hawk Underground came out, Skate came out.
Oh, Skate's
And
great.
Skate did it way better.
Yeah, well, it changed. Like Tony Hawk when it first came out, like that was a really good control scheme for a
Yeah.
skateboarding game.
Yeah.
And like I don't think it like stopped being good, but Skate kind of came and gave you something new and fresh, and
They innovated.
I don't know, it was different.
Exactly.
You didn't
My
play
fa-
the same game.
One of my
Along
favorite
with-
parts about Skate was the fact that you could bail, and I
Yeah.
would do it all the time. I'd
You
go
could
on
do that on Tony Hawk too.
Well, you do it on online games on Skate.
off of the skateboarding Tony Hawk.
Doing-
You're just like, ah!
Doing bails on Skate, like going on Skate, going into a random game and just bailing at people. They're in the middle of doing a movie. You're like, bail.
Was it?
So you were that dick.
Yes,
it
I was
Skate,
that guy.
Was it Skate 3 that had the really wonky physics engine?
Yes.
Where you would like use the force to pick up your board?
Yes.
If you guys have never seen the montages of people doing
I've
this.
seen it.
Montage. If you guys have never seen those, that's
Oh, they're
probably like I giggle like a schoolgirl at those things.
And now it's time for a montage.
Now, okay, I've got.
Well, because we were talking about skating, excuse me, just 1 second. I want to go back to
Skate or die.
a game that I think should have gotten a sequel. Skitchin'.
Skitchin'.
Yeah.
Skitchin' was. I agree. Skitchin' was a great game, but the thing was, you got to remember, it was perfect for its time.
True.
Because rollerblading and skitching on the back of cars was popular at that time, and then it
was
faded
very
after
90s.
a year.
Sorry to interrupt, but if you're looking for the physics videos that Ian's talking about for Skate, the account on YouTube is Helix Snake.
We'll put it in. We'll also put
Yeah,
it in
we'll
our
find some of
description
our
so that you can
favorites.
find some of them. We'll put some of our favorites, or we'll annotate it somewhere here on the YouTube video so that you can see it. Now, a game that I think should have been dead and buried after the first one, because the second one was just terrible, was Skate or Die. Staying on skating. Skate or Die was fun. My favorite thing was the joust. When you would you would joust inside of the pool, and you would just ride the skateboards in the pool, and you're trying to knock the dudes off.
Oh my god!
It's like Tony Hawk meets Road Rash.
That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
It was amazing though. That was a great game.
Do they still make was Road good. Rash games?
No, that would
That's
be
a series that could come back.
that's definitely a series that could come back.
I just thought of one.
What? Mutant League Football?
No.
Sneak King.
But
I think
yeah.
they have a new series
Sneak King?
Yes!
You remember how excited we got for that?
Oh my god. That was the best like dollar I ever spent. Talk about bang for your buck.
I remember we were like, oh my god, Burger King's coming out with a game.
No, they came out with like 4 games. But
Yes.
the,
Did they
and the other
really?
ones looked, they had like King Kart Racing.
Oh
and stuff.
god.
But the
Oh,
one to play was Sneak King, the one where you had to sneak up
behind.
and give people Burger King food.
There were a
Could
couple
you
of
imagine someone actually trying that in real life?
Dude,
We're going to do that now.
I am pretty sure I still have Sneak King.
We have to find it.
If I
after this.
do,
We're playing it.
if I
Oh, yeah.
do,
Let's play.
we're let's playing it and I'll stream it. I don't give a shit.
Oh man, look out for Dungeon Brawlers Sneak King.
I think
Sneak
this
King
fall we should do a video just in honor of sneaking, where we order like $30 burgers and just start walking up and slipping them into people's bags, pockets.
But you have to do it like he did, because he did like a dance.
You
and
can't,
he's like,
you can't get caught. There needs to be flawless presentation
It
of
had
the
a-
food.
The gameplay was like a golf game where you had a meter and you had to like stop it at the right spot
For flourish.
for flourish.
yeah.
This is definitely happening.
Oh my god. It
But
was so
Dan,
good.
what was the game you were thinking of?
It was definitely Sneak King.
I was gonna say Sneaky kind of stole my thunder.
Definitely did, but I'm
Whatever you're gonna mention pales in
It
comparison.
really does. Even though I love this game, Fighting Force.
Fighting for... I don't remember Fighting for...
It was on the PS1. It was a co-op game. You could choose either. What was it? It was 4 people, and basically we just go out, stop this guy from taking over the world. It's
Every beat 'em up.
basically,
Every beat 'em up.
was I know.
Except they didn't steal your girlfriend this time. They didn't steal your girlfriend, so you were okay.
No, I think I actually remember all the main characters' names. I know the one guy was Hawk, who basically
Tony
jeans.
Hawk?
No,
The other one was Animal. They were the Legion of Doom.
no, I'm actually pretty sure his name was Smasher or Crusher.
Oh my
Wesley
god!
Crusher?
So wait a minute. So they named Hawk and Smasher. So you got half of Demolition and half of the Legion of Doom. So they're like, we're just going to use WWE wrestlers, but only half of the tag teams.
That
I know the-
not copyright infringement.
I know there were 2 other like girl characters you could play, and I think it was like Mace and Alana or something.
For me, going off of what you said and beat 'em ups, a beat 'em up style game that I would love to see come back would be like River City Ransom. River City Ransom was awesome.
I played that with you.
No, he did, and
Yeah.
he was an asshole the whole time.
Is what I do.
He's hitting me with like tires and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm on your team.
You got in my way. The bad guys were in front of you.
Don't even
I threw
trip,
it.
dog.
No, look, no.
No.
He's straight tripping.
He
This
is
is
You
why.
are straight
This
train.
is why co-op games do not need friendly fire in all instances.
Do they not need friendly fire, or do they definitely need friendly fire?
They definitely.
They definitely
I
knew.
remember playing Left 4 Dead online with my cousin, and we would start missions and immediately start shotgunning the guys next to us. We'd just be like, what? That was it.
That was like how Ian and I used to play Halo. We had our clan, the Baby Giraffes,
Baby
and we
Giraffes.
would do
Giraffes.
co-op or like team deathmatch. And beginning of the match, we would just turn around and start killing our own team. And they'd be like, "No, we're on your team." We're like, "Oh shoot, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't know what color."
I forgot how to color. I'm sorry.
And we would play with like the same teams for like 3 or 4 matches and keep saying that.
You know what I would do? I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm colorblind. I can't see color. What color are you?
boy, we kicked their ass.
We got them.
I guess I proved them.
But that's one thing I will say games like Call of Duty have done to fix people like us. They're like, oh, you're going to friendly fire? If you do it 3 times, we're going to kick you out of the game.
Well, on the other side, like if you're trying to play genuinely, it's hard to tell who's a good guy and who's a bad guy.
That's true. That's true. I feel that way about Counter-Strike, too. Well,
Counter-Strike was a little bit, but like Call of Duty is really brown.
yeah, I agree. One more. Let's try to get one more series that we'd love to see a reboot, and one more that
Needs to die.
I
that
got one.
needs to die or is dead.
Pain.
Ooh.
Did you say Pain?
Yes. On the PlayStation Network.
Yeah.
I don't agree.
Oh my.
I think it would be fun to either have it rebooted or something different made.
Well, I know
like,
with
the same
Pain, like
dynamics.
I'm pretty sure they still like put out DLC for that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, I don't see that game. I don't see another game in it. I don't see another game in Pain. I think it's good as one. It's
Yeah.
a fun one-off game.
It's an excellent like party game. Like I remember downloading that when I first got a PS3 freshman
Yeah, I
year in
remember.
college.
Yeah, I remember you told me about it. You're like, dude, you gotta check out this game, Pain.
You
And I
had
was
me
like,
play
all
it a
right.
couple of times.
Yeah. Like it was
While I
a
was up
the
at-
it was a
mime-
bonding moment for my entire hall.
The mime bowling was the best part when you
Oh.
bowl over the mimes.
Oh,
what-
yeah.
No, those mimes are assholes.
yeah.
All
They jump
minds
over
are
you and stuff.
assholes, pretending like they can't speak.
So, what do you
Fuck
think?
them.
What do you think, guys? What would be one game that you would love to see a sequel for? I know mine would be Blue Dragon. I'd love to see, or Lost Odyssey. Either of the games from Mistwalker, I'd love to see another game from.
I would love to see, and we were talking about this earlier, that you could probably lump any number of the different Star Wars franchises that abruptly ended. But
Maybe we should even make that a whole podcast on its own.
we
Star
should
Wars
we
games.
should probably just have a whole discussion of Star Wars games. But honestly, no. If I have
I
to
can
pick,
actually contribute to that. If we were talking about the movies, I'd have nothing to contribute, but the games, I got you.
I'm gonna
Maybe
Yeah,
we
I've
shouldn't
had
touch the movies.
I'm gonna narrow this down to one because I'll just do an entire radio dramatization of the script of the movie.
I'm getting.
from
Hold on,
memory.
I gotta get heat. I gotta get heat from all the people on YouTube. 4, 5, and 6 suck. 1, 2, and 3 are the best movies ever. Just
I didn't know you were such a shock jock.
call me Howard Stern.
To fit,
No,
Stern's
no.
overrated.
I'm gonna call you Jar Jar Stern.
That's fair.
Jar Jar Binks is the best character in Star Wars. Period.
Clearly.
This is just
Clearly.
digging. I'm making a digging motion, everybody.
I'm just digging the grave.
Dig it up a hole, digging.
I'm gonna boil it down to one very, very simple decision.
Jedi
I
Power
want proper KOTOR 3.
Definitely.
I agree.
Old Republic.
No,
I've got a
It's
question.
for some
I'm
people
not
Wild about
okay.
extended universe, but
The
Knights
Old
of the Republic
Republic-
had some real
The
neat
extended universe doesn't exist
real
anymore,
cool
dude.
ideas for the Force.
the Old Republic, the MMO was okay, but it doesn't really fit the first two games.
Yeah, the first game is fantastic, and credit to everyone at Obsidian Entertainment. KOTOR 2 is basically the best Star Wars story ever written.
I'd agree.
It's a shame they didn't finish it because there was so much more they wanted to add. But in a series where I guess this is just like personal preference, but I thought that all the mythology they added for the Force was a little much. Like that one kind of added some neat themes to it.
Yeah.
Like even the original trilogy, there's a lot of like destiny involved, and it kind of questions the idea of like if the Force and destiny are so intertwined, then do you really want what the Force wants?
Mm-hmm.
But that's something we could do. We could do a whole podcast.
Yeah,
on
you
just
can
that
definitely
game.
do one on
Yeah.
Star Wars games. Dan, what's your choice for a game that you'd love to see?
Time Splitters.
Time Splitters.
Definitely.
Yup.
I have a question. Have they done anything with the Double Dragon series?
Double Dragon
They've
Neon.
they did a bunch of them, but
Recently?
they're all shit.
Okay, then a
Even
good
Neon?
Double Dragon.
Neon was okay.
Okay, yeah, I was one of my friends was giving me
Neon was okay,
waiting for
but-
it to drop during the Steam sale.
Okay, a decent Double Dragon.
It's a decent Double Dragon at best.
But no, I agree. I would like to see Time Splitters for sure.
That was
It's
a fantastic series.
Oh yeah.
In terms of a party shooter, the craziness of the different characters and guns and levels, and like they added a level maker that was pretty robust. Like that was a great series.
It's almost, and in this day and age, I mean, obviously you have games like Serious Sam,
Right.
especially the most recent one that
Oh,
try to
man.
take I love the game. But it tries to take
Me
that
and
slightly,
Ian playing Serious Sam was hilarious.
That was absolutely incredible.
There's a kind of new school, I guess. Well, they brought that back.
A
Yeah,
lot
it
of-
takes that arcadey kind of.
It has a very old school gaming
vibe.
feel to it.
A lot of screaming of what the fuck is going on?
What is happening? There's too many things on screen right now. What is that? Oh God, we're dead again.
What is
Yep.
that? Ian, you hit start again. Oh, thank God.
But Time Splitters, honestly, I still
Definitely.
remember. I still remember our friend Dan telling me in high school when we were playing Future Perfect on Xbox Live, I can't take this seriously. We're all running around as monkeys and shooting each other with banana guns.
Anytime I think of Dan and I think of video games, I just remember when he was in college. And
For the record, this isn't me.
not you,
Yeah,
not
not you.
different Dan.
Different Dan.
Different Dan, that's his name.
We'll call him DD.
Call him DD. He was
Double D.
I went up to go pick him up from school because he was coming home for, I think it was like spring break or something like that. And I go to pick him up, and he's like, dude, you have to check out this setup I've got here. And he had this cart that had the Super
Oh, you told me
Nintendo
about
on
it.
and a TV, and he's like, I bring it into the bathroom with me when I have to poop.
That's beautiful. Didn't it have like a 50-foot extension cord on it?
It
Oh,
had-
yeah.
You would have to.
I was like, this is amazing.
The weird thing is, when I was in college, they had the exact same setup at the apartment of the swim team guys that we used to party at. Super Nintendo on the pooper.
That's the way. It's the pooping entertainment system.
It's like
How
the-
sad!
it's
My
like the-
fondest childhood video game memory has been relegated to the bathroom.
Now, is that sad, or is it honestly?
The most amazing thing ever.
You've got to get your business.
Are
done.
you saying that the Video Game Hall of Fame is in fact the pooper?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay.
Throne of Smells.
Okay, so Pat,
Throne
what
of
would be the
Smells.
game that you or are you in agreement with Dan that that's the game to go?
I guess I should have a unique one. I like the last few suggestions anyway, but you know, I guess a series that could use another entry is the Chrono Trigger series.
Oh my
God. The second one, Chrono Cross, is pretty polarizing. I remember being pretty disappointed at the time, but I think more with the fact it wasn't a direct sequel, but it was a good game in its own right.
Yeah.
And it had a cool flavor to
Going
it. I don't
back-
want to go too much into detail on it, but it was a fun RPG series. It was popular. It's a big Square title. I don't know why it didn't get a third game.
Well, you think about it. You had 3 masters together for that game. You had the creator of Dragon Quest. You had the creator of Final Fantasy, and you had Akira Toriyama for the art. It's like, how could you not have had as good of a game as you got with what you had? I'm in 100% agreement with
Yeah,
you.
definitely. I think some of the things
That a
like
true
the first game
successor
had
to
like
the game.
like multi-character attacks and stuff.
Love those
and
returns.
like enemies that moved around, and then you know the Chrono Cross had an even more unique battle system.
Yeah.
So that I don't know. I just want another one. Give me more.
Give me more.
I've got money. I'll give it to you. I
I'll
promise.
give you my money if you give me game. All right, now we'll go back to you, Pat, for your game that you'll bury,
That I'll
and leave it forever in a hole somewhere far away from here.
Oh, you might have to come back to me on that one.
All right, Dan.
Anybody got one?
Dan, you got a game that you want to bury
It's a
and
tough one.
leave buried forever? I have mine. Mine is Silver Surfer for the Nintendo. I will
God.
bury that
God,
game
yeah.
forever. That game was fucking ridiculous.
Okay. I'll say Superman or what was it?
Superman
N64?
64?
Yep.
Oh.
You
Yep.
mean
Classic
Ring
game.
Fly Simulator?
Yes.
Ring Flying Simulator.
We're just gonna burn that thing.
Burn it to the ground.
There are no words.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
think
burn
it deserves anything more.
Yeah.
Just fire, brimstone,
And it's very manageable.
fire, brimstone, and kryptonite.
Oh, another game. I don't want to go into detail about it, but another game that deserved a
Banjo-Kazooie.
sequel. No, not Banjo-Kazooie. Conker's Bad Fur Day.
Yeah,
Got the
I understand the
reboot.
first one was a big like cult classic. Like people loved the Nintendo had this. It had the same like cutesy look to it.
It had
But
that
it had like a-
Banjo-Kazooie type of look.
It definitely had a more adult edge to it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. You're gaming in
My Dead and Buried game.
The Dead and Buried.
If anybody, I'm sure you guys are probably gonna. I'm gonna
The
get I'm gonna go
Iron
a
Maiden
little bit.
shooter game that came with.
Oh, with Ed Hunter.
Yeah.
Ed Hunter. Oh yeah, that one's definitely in there. Soundtrack CD's all right though, at the very least.
That's
I am
true.
wearing an Iron Maiden T-shirt, flying the colors. Tonight.
That's why I brought it up.
But
the irons.
additionally, digging into the more recent past, I will definitely say that one of the games I can think of right off the top of my head is Brink.
Oh,
From
the game
several
that
years
feels like
ago.
it was never completed.
You know what?
yeah.
I'm not even gonna come up with one, Ian. That's my
that
is my
concludes the entire thing.
worst gaming memory was buying that game, and I have to personally apologize to you I think I was the one who first got really excited about it, and we all bought it. And
I was pretty, and the funny thing is too, I was pretty strapped for cash that week. I remember actually basically foregoing.
Okay, yeah, I
food that
apologize.
day.
Way to go. Way to go,
Make him
Pat.
feel worse about it now.
I know, I have
Feel
to
like a
go
dick.
trip it now. I just have to keep it coming in.
And let me guess, you took the money out of your grandmother's medicine fund.
Yes.
Yeah,
She didn't get her
no,
AIDS medicine, Pat.
You took the money out of her medicine
Wow.
fund. Now she can't pay her heating bill.
Dan, you just said Ian's grandmother has AIDS. That's ridiculous.
Oh, that's awful.
That's so mean.
That's horrible.
She's gonna need a lot of medicine.
That's news to me.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Ian.
She's still
Your loss of your
alive.
grandmother's lack of AIDS. But yeah, Brink is. I think I played
remember
like
you guys
2
talking
hours
to
of
me.
that, and most of it was trying to make the game work.
I remember you guys talking to me about when you first bought it. You were telling me about it, and you're like, "Yeah, you got to check out this game." And my rule of thumb has always been, if it's not a sequel to a game that I've already played, I kind of hold off a little while before I'll purchase anything.
Well, I've got a
You're
new
part of the
rule
problem.
and a better rule: never pre-order anything ever.
Yeah. Tread through a minefield sometimes.
Yeah, that
Never
was-
pay for something you can't see already.
At the very least, I pre-ordered Brink, and I did get a genuine Team Fortress 2 hat that sold for $6.
Oh well, that's a relief.
nice.
The little things.
Exactly, the silver linings.
Dan, did you pick a game? Did you pick?
Oh, he picked Superman 64.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah. For dead and buried.
And,
He went for the meat and potatoes.
And Pat, you
yeah, I
picked-
gotta double up on
you-
Brink.
you
That was-
picked Brink as well.
That was a goddamn nightmare.
So you guys let us know, what games do you think deserve a sequel? What games do you think the sequels just need to stop? What games would you bury? What games do you know?
What games would you kill with fire?
And what assertions about the Star Wars movies would you disagree with Frank about?
All of them.
Every single one.
That is the correct answer.
Next week, on the next episode of Dungeon Brawlers, our series is going to be something that I think we need to talk about, and that's alpha access in video games.
Definitely. That's
Whether-
a big new trend.
Whether it's a relevant, reliable product, or if it's a burden to the video gaming world. And I think that's something that you guys should definitely check out. Even if for no other reason than to listen to the beginning of our podcast again, which I will tell you, we legitimately got much joy out of making our little acapella theme song.
It took us at least a couple takes to get that right because we basically just erupted into laughter at
Every
least
time.
3 times trying to get
I'm
that
sorry.
set.
And I have a feeling next week it's going to be slightly different.
It was
It
It's going to be
will
very
be.
different.
we're a finely tuned machine.
Yes, every week our intro music will be different, so be prepared for that. And maybe, just maybe, we'll have an episode of Dungeon Crawlers that you could watch.
Brawlers.
Thank you.
God damn it, Frank.
I don't even know.
All the way through.
Dungeon Brawlers.
Next time on Dungeon Masters.
Next time on He-Man and the Dungeons of the Universe.
on the next episode of Crawler Brawlers, we're
Last time on Lost.
On the next episode of Growler Brawlers.
maybe you'll get Dungeon Brawlers, an actual Let's Play episode sometime this week, maybe next week, we'll find out. But for all of us here at the Dungeon Brawlers room thing,
Table.
This
Table of Justice.
section of the universe.
section of the universe.
Of Justice.
Our own.
I am
personal
your host,
dungeon.
Frank, here
I'm
with Dan,
Dan.
Tim,
Hi.
Pat,
I mean, bye.
Thank you.
and Ian. Tim,
Go ahead, Ian.
Boo.
Ian,
Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la.
would you like to do the honors to take us out of our episode?
Play us out.
That concludes this week's episode of Dungeon Brawlers. Boo. Boo.